This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Hey, this is Monte Mohr, Realty One Group, Music City.
And Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. And welcome back. It's Sunday evening.
So good to see you, Carey Ann.
So good to see you.
It's the highlight of my week, you know, one of. I get to hang out with Miss Carey Ann Cyr.
I love that.
Of CMG Financial, lead mortgage professional in the entire state of Tennessee.
So
and
good.
We're anxious to see where you're ranking this year in the country and
I know.
In the universe. And, it's exciting.
Well, how was your holiday?
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. You know, we got it out of the way. That's kind of how
I know. And then, the new year is, I cannot believe the new year is going to be here. 2019 was just a year full of so many things that we were grateful for and so many opportunities and excited for what's to come in 2020.
A lot of personal growth.
For sure. There was a lot of stepped out of some comfort zones, all the way from dancing to doing radio to doing TV.
Yeah, the radio was one of them, you know.
I know.
Thank you, everybody who has hung in there with us and listened to us.
I know. Hopefully we've entertained and we've educated and we've provided.
Motivated.
And we motivated. We've provided some good information. For sure. I know. So, and Nashville's just going to be booming again next year in real estate, and there's just going to be so much more opportunity. The rates are still low. This is the time to purchase or, maybe gain wealth through investing, in an investment property. It's great to see, where we used to call, Middle Tennessee, it's just stretching now,
It's incredible. Incredible.
There's cities crossing my desk now that didn't knew existed, so that's exciting.
I thought at one time I knew the state, but now my agents are going to areas that I didn't know about.
Right.
So it's like, I didn't know that. I never heard of that town before.
Right. So that's a fun thing,
Yeah,
and it makes it such a blessing to do what we do. But, there's a lot of positive changes happening, in the mortgage world. And I think when it comes to mortgage financing, the goal is to do things the right way to help people and improve people that feel comfortable and understand and have the strength to repay the mortgage, right? And so we're just not going to give everybody a mortgage if they don't fit within those guidelines, but understand that everybody's had a life and that we need to be a little bit more lenient on some of those situations. If certain things are stronger in others. So, the loan programs out there are just in a way right now that can help your first-time home buyers with 100% financing, but we want to set you up for success. So even though you're getting 100% financing, we still want you to have a little bit of money in the bank. Now, the guidelines don't say that I need that, but, someone that is a strong professional and someone that is really good in our fields, we want to set everybody up for success.
We don't want to set them up for failure.
Right. So making sure, so there's programs out for the first-time home buyers. There's programs for the investors with at least 15% down. There's investor programs with no documentation. There's just some great options out there for folks. There's a loan right now that allows your client to put a minimal of 3% down, and you possibly could get a grant. It's called the Borrow Smart program, and you can get a grant. Borrow Smart. And you can get up to $2,500 to go towards your down payment or closing cost if you follow and meet the guidelines for that particular program. So there's a lot of excitement in the mortgage world right now, and the agencies are wanting to find ways to help the folks purchase more and assist more families, with home ownership. So
I love that investment idea of no documentation, where it really is really pretty much based on the down payment and the cash flow of the house.
It's the cash flow. Absolutely.
I think in this area, this ought to be something a lot of people would be interested in.
Yeah. If you're truly purchasing it as an investment property, you're able to put 25% down. You have a 680 plus credit score. They're going to look at the true cash flow of that home. So if the cash flow is at least $1 more than the mortgage payment, then that is a success, and you should be approved with that. So that is a great option for those.
$1 more.
And I think it actually just has to be the same, but I always just say $1 to be safe. But you're not having to provide any documentation from income standpoint. So if you're someone who is a busy investor who is comfortable with a little higher of an interest rate, just doesn't want to go through the hassle of all the documentation, that's a really good loan for those folks.
A lot of folks fit that category, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the rents right now, the rental market is a lot higher. I mean, you're going to pay more more to rent a property probably in this city than you are
Much
to
more.
own a home.
A couple $100 more probably, at least on an average size home.
Right, absolutely. So, that's a great mortgage option out there. We also have another program for folks that work for companies that might be connected through the agencies. So there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. However, if they are, and many of the companies here locally are, there is something called a Borrower Advantage program, which allows for you have to be an employee of a company, and you do have to receive income, but we use a system that provides us proof of that income, which means that we do not need you to give us pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns.
What kind of system is that?
Yeah, it's a magical system.
Magical system.
We're not going to give all the details out there.
Their nose and
We're not going to give all the details out there, but it is a great program that's helping a lot of folks streamline the process, and that's what we're talking about. The easy button of mortgages, there is. I always say mortgage loans are not difficult. It's so sad for me to see so many people cross my desk at the last minute because they were told no. It's just because sometimes a lender does not slow down to speed up. They don't ask all the right questions on the upfront.
Right.
So they don't know that person, to be able to get financing, has to go left or has to go right. They force them in one direction, and that doesn't allow for an approval. So really knowing your guidelines is key. So this particular program just allows you to streamline the process and not have you worry so much about, I can't find my W-2 or I can't find, the tax return that's in that box somewhere. So yeah, it's been able to allow the process to go a lot smoother for so many families. So that's another big win. The loan amounts, Nashville's booming, so our average loan amounts are increasing. So from FHA to VA to your conventional loan amounts are all making an increase next year, except for one county. Hickman County is decreasing, but the loan limits you're going to notice, and it also does depend upon the county, but you'll find that they're going to be up closer to that 510,000 mark, where last year it was around 484. So they're jumping that up.
Can you give a ballpark of each one, the FHA, VA, and conventional?
Yeah, so they all kind of follow suit. So FHA is going to be county driven. So again, depending on your county, that will shift, but they all will follow suit. So they'll all be right in that line of the 510, 400, with conventional allowing you to go up to a high balance of 563, 500.
Wow.
So what does that mean to the average Joe, right? Well, that allows you and I to purchase a home now in that price point without having to utilize the jumbo guidelines. And what does that mean to you and I? That means that there's a lot more flexibility. The rate might be better. You may get a property inspection waiver, which means you might not need an appraisal if you're comfortable with the price. If you're self-employed, you may only need 1-year tax returns versus 2-year tax returns. They're going to allow for a lot more flexibility than if you were to utilize the jumbo loan. So that's a big win for a lot of families here locally that are looking to purchase in that price point. So I'm excited about that because that just means that there's a lot of growth and a lot of just the price points are increasing here, locally.
That's a good sign for sure.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Now, for all those veterans out there, the VA is making some changes as well. So the funding fees for our veterans, those are going to change. So it used to be, if you haven't used your VA certificate before, the funding fee was 2.1%. That is moving up to 2.3%. If you are someone that has already used your VA as a second-time user, it was 3.3%. It's now moving to 3.6% as the funding fee. And many folks locally are exempt from that, but if you are not, you will see that minor increase. So if you're used to buying and utilizing your VA over and over and over again.
And how do you know if you're exempt?
You'll show a disability claim over 10%, but your certificate of eligibility will reference your exemption or non-exemption there. But some folks are used to utilizing their VA certificate and usually maybe paying that 3.3% that will increase next year to 3.6%.
So if somebody has, on that topic, if somebody has used their VA eligibility and how often do we see it assumed anymore? Does that still happen? Okay. I think it happens. I don't know if it happens as much as you and I would assume it would happen because, somebody could take advantage of a really low interest rate. The problem with that is it's the loan. So they're assuming that loan amount. So the seller, I don't think, nets anymore. Right? I think that's how that works. Is that how that works? Yeah. If the rates went up and you had an assumable loan, that would be worth putting the cash down if you had the cash difference.
Right, to make the difference. Right, exactly.
Right. But my point, what I was going with that is
So you can use VA loan as many times as you choose to, assuming it's paid off each time.
The eligibility is there. You also are allowed to have 2 VA loans at the same time if eligible. You know, and some folks don't realize, and you and I've had this opportunity, but you know, some folks don't realize they can get a VA loan up over $1 million either. And so you would just take the sales price minus the loan amount for that particular county, and then you multiply that difference by 25%, and that's what they would have to bring as their down payment. And you will find that that normally is lower than a regular down payment for a jumbo loan. So that's a huge win for the veteran, especially if they are exempt from the funding fee.
Sure, that's huge.
That is a win for our veterans. Plus, the ratios on a VA loan are they allow up to 65%. So why would that matter? Maybe I have a house to sell, I can't yet sell it, or it's planning to sell in 30 days. You know,
65%.
Yeah, and again, you and I are making sense to these loans, right?
Correct.
I'm not just going to give somebody a loan with a 65% debt to income ratio. Usually, maybe there's a singer-songwriter, right? That somebody doesn't, you know, just started out, makes income, but it's not on paper yet. There might be more to that story, you know, and the reason why the ratios are a little bit more extended than normal. But there's a lot of exciting things coming down the pipe here for 2020.
Definitely going to be a big year.
Yes, it is for sure. So excited about that, and excited to tell you more about a new program that we've got coming up here. So, but we're going to take a quick break.
Awesome.
But when we come back, we'll talk about that. You've been listening to the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Hi, my name is Monte Mohr. I'm the broker owner of Realty One Group Music City. I've been an active real estate broker for over 35 years now, personally selling thousands of homes. That's why I recently opened Tennessee's first Realty One Group office. As a real estate professional, would you like having it all? Cutting-edge technology, full support, world-class training, same-day commission deposits, all for free? How about strong collaborative culture, national brand recognition, new high exposure, easy access office, and a non-competing broker committed to your success 7 days a week? Now let's top that off with all experienced agents receiving 100% of their commission from day one. I know, where's the catch, right? There is no catch. Call us today and schedule a confidential meeting and learn why Realty One Group is the fastest growing real estate franchise in the nation. Call 636-8244. That's 615-636-8244. Or go to topagentsuccess.com. That's topagentsuccess.com.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
And Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Carey Ann, I really enjoy seeing the questions coming into to our questions at talkmusiccity.com or hashtag talkmusiccity. I want to make sure everybody understands that we're dependent upon. Your questions drive this show, and we're so grateful for everybody who's sent some in. So thank you for that. Be sure and continue.
Absolutely. And this show is also a podcast, so you can listen at your leisure. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, and others. You can also watch us on YouTube or our favorite Facebook. Simply search The Talk of Music City.
So let's continue on the mortgage scene here.
I know. So
Are you making predictions about, you don't ever talk about rate, do you?
No, because it doesn't matter what the rate is. It's the great time to purchase, and it's a good time to get ready. You know, it's so funny. Some people were born when rates, I say born, but, you know, at a time in their life where they could purchase a home, you know, when rates were at 3.25% for so long, you know. So
3.25%.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I remember when I started, you know, we were in the 8s, you know, and you started, it could be a different.
In the 12s, 12.5.
We won't discuss our age. We won't discuss the timeline of when all that was.
When I got my license, seriously, your mortgage payment wasn't even paying all of your interest.
Yeah.
It was a negative AM loan. Have you heard of those before? Negative AM loan. Every month you owed more than you did the month before.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
And when people went to sell them, they were like, you know, it's what do we do with this, you know? And I mean, it was a crazy time, and I remember never forget when it came down below double digits. Okay,
it was a big deal.
Okay, that was a big.
That was a big deal. Yeah,
it wasn't uncommon then for jack back up to 11.5 or something like that. It was a crazy time.
Yeah, I mean,
when I hear about people complaining about, well, I'm holding out because it's it's 4.25%, and I'm wanting under 4 or whatever. It's like, you know what? You have no idea how much at the end of the day. Come on.
Yeah. And we talked about this, rates do tick up, in the latter part of the year, first of the year, and then they make a shift or whatever. But, I was, at the end of every year, you have to go through your mortgage education, CE credits and things, and they bring up The Big Short, the movie, because they try to bring it, bring a little humor. We have to sit there for 8 hours, right? It's just very dreadful talking about.
They make you watch the whole show?
No, but they do pieces of it or whatever. And it reminds you, about how the mortgage side just got too crazy, right? I mean, you could get a mortgage back in the day, one day out of a bankruptcy, a 228, which means it was 100% financing, one day out of a bankruptcy, fixed only for 2 years. And you know what? Well, maybe we'll talk to you. We always would, talk to you in 2 years from now, which again, people were just getting into stuff and it was just not a good deal. Or I think you were calling it the fast and easies, things like that were just, no income, no asset loans, so we approach it now with there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of mortgage options. But again, we're looking at them with each storyline and the client's ability to repay that mortgage, right? And really letting the underwriter take a lead there and making sure that they truly do qualify for that. Because credit scores, it drives me crazy because credit scores, it doesn't matter what your score is. The story is in the credit report. I know I'm smart. I can figure out how to get the credit score to be what it needs to be, but that doesn't change anything on my report. The report itself is still the same, right? So we shouldn't say that this person's credit is poor because of blank score. That just might mean that they don't have a lot of credit because there's a lot of things that go into credit scores. However, credit scores are based upon the interest rate as well. So the better the score, the better the interest rate and things like that. But yes, predictions, I think it's going to be a great year. I think we stay positive. We help as many families as we can and we can make a difference.
There's positive over here.
Miss Positive Pants over here. And when I approach it that way, I was able to help more families this year than I was the previous year. And that makes me really happy. I mean, if we lead into every day with trying to make a difference for somebody, then that is a big win. But I will say I helped more people get a yes that were told no this year. Meaning that was it was mind-boggling to me that so many people were told that they couldn't get financing, and I was able to help them get financing.
How exciting is that?
I know, and some people would say, oh, Carey Ann, you just help people, folks that had bad credit. And there was nothing bad credit about half of these scenarios. They were just on the wrong program, right? Or why are we putting so much money down? Why don't we put less money down and pay off this debt and get the ratios in line? It's just sometimes a big problem-solving puzzle, It's
so important. When you're thinking about financing folks, it's so important to go with a lender who knows what the heck they're doing. And no offense to anybody else out there, I promise. But, it's an advantage when you do a lot of business. You get to see a lot of opportunities to learn and grow from those experiences, just like we do in our real estate side of things. You do on the mortgage side of things because you've done it so long and so often. That's part of it, is so often. When somebody's selling a home once every quarter or something, it's hard to become an expert at that. If you're putting a loan together every once in a while, you're not staying on top of all the cutting edge changes and so forth. So to do it often and to do it with a heart of giving in abundance, that's the other part of it. I think sometimes the assumption is that we're trying to sell all the time. I'm not trying to sell all the time. I don't, of the 3,000 plus homes that I've helped people buy, I don't know that I've ever sold one. I might help somebody make a decision from one or the other, but I don't remember ever selling a home. I don't think you're ever selling your services. You're serving people, especially those who. What a thrill when somebody's been denied. It's not a thrill in that part of it, but the thrill is the resurrection of.
Well, I feel like I've become someone who just solves problems. Here's the problem. How do I solve it? And I always say I solve the biggest problem in so many people's lives when it comes to real estate. I'm able to create the money aspect of that, and that's a big win. But you're right. I mean, it is a skill to know your guidelines, to know what's allowed. I always say, did you know that a seller can pay the veteran's debt? Did you know that? So if you didn't know that, the seller's paying closing costs. Well, I have a loan that's crossed my desk that is denied, okay, because the ratios were out of whack.
Right.
So I
took the seller paid closing costs, converted it to seller paid debt off of a car, and I covered the closing costs, which only changed an interest rate by a small amount of money because I can't pay the debts. Right. And here's a win. This family now gets into a home where they weren't going to be into a home,
that's such a victory. That is such a victory.
Yeah, but it's something simpler like that where great credit. It just, you have to be creative and find solutions that result in a win for your customer, every single time. Not just on Monday or Fridays, every single time is what's important. And that's a big win. But another big problem that we solve is using creative financing. And one of those types of loans that you and I have used often is a program through our friends over at Ribbon Homes.
Yes.
And I've teamed up with them. They're great.
I love Ribbon Homes.
Yeah, they do an amazing job. And for those that don't know, they're like your rich uncle, they always say, right? So they create the freedom for you to purchase before you sell. And that's a big part of their business where they allow you, let's say you found your dream home, but you have not had the opportunity, to even think about putting your current house on the market. They'll go out there and they'll purchase your dream home for you. You have the ability to rent back to them up to 6 months to give you the ability to sell your current house, maybe stage it, clean it out.
The kids, the dogs, the hamsters, everything out of the house.
Get it in a position that's really going to allow it to get max value. And so I've teamed up with them. We have a new program. It's called Accelerate My Offer, the AMO program. Locked and loaded. Great things are going to happen for many families next year. Excited to roll that out the first of the year. So you guys are getting a little bit of the insight there. But there's going to be some discounts offered. There's going to be deferred payments, rent payments offered through that program. We're going to be able to help first-time home buyers be able to get themselves positioned and prepared to be able to purchase within a 6-month period. So that house can be already purchased. They know they love that house, but they're not ready yet to purchase that house. They still can do like a rent-to-own property. It's going to be a huge win for so many families. So excited to team up with my friends over at Ribbon Homes with that program.
That's
be on the
one
lookout.
of the few companies out there that are new to the scene of real estate that I absolutely love. So many of them don't have our best interest at heart, neither one of us. Right. That is one that absolutely does.
Yeah, they love the real estate community. They love the mortgage lenders, and they love helping clients and find and make sure that their dream home is definitely not lost in the shuffle of the everyday.
They empower the buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. So great stuff happening in 2020. Excited to talk more about real estate. We're going to take a short break, but we come back. I think Monte is going to talk about something.
My nemesis.
We're going to talk.
My nemesis.
All right. He's going to be talking about something special, something deep in his soul. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.
Are you someone who is looking to gain wealth through real estate? My name is Carey Ann Cyr, and I'm with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. Whether you're looking to purchase your first home, a second home, or even an investment property, my team and we specialize in making the process of home ownership smooth as possible. With our vast variety of mortgage programs, our competitive interest rates, and our local support center, we have the ability to serve so many deserving families and help find just the right mortgage program to fit within your short and long-term financial goals. Mortgage loans is what we know, and approving them is what we do. We'd be honored to help you begin the process today. Check us out at yourtnlendingsolution.com. That's yourtnlendingsolution.com. Or give us a call, always a friendly voice, 615-456-4456. That's 456-4456. We look forward to helping you and beginning your mortgage application today.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
And Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Great mortgage information, Carey Ann.
Thank you.
I am excited about this new year, 2020. We've been talking as a company and has been talking to a lot of the agents. We're setting our goals, and I'm excited about helping these agents reach those goals. This is going to be an exciting year.
It is.
Few things are more important from a real estate professional than having a great lender. Thank you so much for always being in our corner. We appreciate that.
Well, we love what we do, and we love working with the people that make a difference as well. So, what are we talking about there, Monte? I think we need to get Jim in the mix.
I can only imagine what you want to talk about.
Well, so most of you know that I have a nemesis called the iBuyer.
Yes.
When they first came to town about year and a half, 2 years ago, I had an experience with them, and I watched my clients lose money, thousands and thousands of dollars, but they were looking for an easy button because they were going through a divorce. And I sat back and watched the whole experience because I couldn't do anything else. And then I went on Channel 4 and told the viewers of my experience with that. And then I put that on social media, and I was reprimanded by some my peers saying you can't criticize any other brokerage. Okay, well, my conviction is, and please, I'm sorry if I'm not right, my conviction is this company does not have the consumer's best interest at heart, no matter how they try to paint it. They do not have the realtor's best interest at heart, no matter how they try to spin it. They have their stockholders in mind. That's what they work for. That's what they're creating. Okay, so you can. Let me. I want to read some things to you, okay? Because this is eye-opening. Are you ready for this, Carey Ann?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
I know you've been listening to some additional folks that are sharing about this topic, but this is what this is all about, guys. It's about creating an awareness, awareness that there's a thief in the house, okay? And that's why I'm angry. If somebody walked into your grandmother's house, Jim, and you saw them filling up a bag of grandma's valuables, would you casually say, hey, what are you doing there? Or would you do something to stop it?
Of course, I'd do something to stop it.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do here is at least create an awareness so people recognize there's a thief in the house, okay? So anyway, here's I'm going to talk about one. And again, for anybody who's got a problem with what I'm about to share, I'm sorry. I really am, because I'm a peacemaker, I'm a people lover, I'm a problem solver,
It's your beloved industry that's
but it is
under attack.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you. This is my beloved. This is my passion.
You're not the only one.
Right.
So, I get to work with so many amazing brokers as well. And I think they all have the same conviction and passion that you do. You'd like to voice it, which is good. Maybe you're the voice for everyone.
Very,
there you go.
Very fortunate that I have a platform here that I have a few folks that'll listen to this, and hopefully we can get a collective renewal of our minds out there on the topic. So here's some information. So let's look at some facts and some numbers from just one of the iBuying companies. This one is called Open Door. And what I'm talking about here is the iBuyer in general here, okay? This is what, but in this particular case, okay, Open Door is currently in 21 markets. That's 11 states altogether, okay? Nashville being one of those markets. According to their estimates, in those 21 markets, they are buying a home every 24 minutes.
Wow.
Every 24 minutes. That equates to 3,500 homes purchased every month.
Wow.
3,500. Okay, what troubles me sometimes is some folks in my industry think, well, they're not going to make a difference because an iBuyer, a tech company, can't hug somebody. They can't provide the personal service that we can, so we don't have anything to be concerned about. If you start following the numbers of a newer company growing, well, like for instance, right here in this area, Middle Tennessee, in the last 2 years, they have sold 823 homes, okay? Through MLS, 688 in the last year. That's a 1,800% growth in the last 12 months. 1,800%. Okay, that's not something to ignore. But as a local realtor, here's something you should be concerned about. Of those 823 homes that they have sold through MLS, they've only purchased 63. Okay. So they've sold 823, but they've purchased through MLS 63, meaning that's only 8% of what they've done is through local MLS. In other words, 92% of the homes they purchased, they did so directly from the consumer.
Through marketing campaigns.
Through marketing, through their marketing. Now, remember, they've got $1.4 billion to throw at this, okay?
Sure, yeah.
I don't, it'd be a hard one to compete with.
You don't have that?
I would have to team up with you to get that kind of money.
Now, is that $1 billion for the national picture?
For the national picture, $1.4 billion is what they're funded with, okay?
Okay.
So you can do a lot of things with it.
Sure, yeah.
You can do a lot of marketing, So now, anyone want to? My comment here is: anyone want to venture to guess why a company like this would rather buy the homes directly from the consumer than have a real estate professional involved?
Right.
Any ideas why that is? I think it might be because the consumer doesn't do this every day, and they're not realizing that a lot of this stuff is double talk that they share, okay? I mean, I guess part of the reason I'm so angry about this is because I recently sat in on a webinar where another company was trying to get realtors to buy into the joys of working with the iBuyer and how wonderful they are, okay? So here's the fallacy. I shouldn't say fallacy, but here's their presentation, okay, Jim? Mm-hmm. Here's their presentation. If you wonder what an iBuyer does, this is what their interpretation of what they do. We pay the homeowner a fair, competitive price for their home. We then...
Is this a game show? Sorry, I was confused. What's happening here?
We then charge them a fee to do that. Is that double talk or what?
Yeah.
We pay you a fair price, but we're going to charge you, we're going to take part of that back. I mean, that's just silly. Okay, so then, of course, we'll perform a thorough inspection on the property to ensure that the home is safe for the new buyer that will
safe in quotation marks, yeah.
That will be selling the home too.
Which means I found 5 pages of repair work needed.
So check this out. Here's an example. Imagine for a second that you're selling your classic car that's worth, according to Kelley Blue Book, say $50,000. A car iBuyer comes along and says, based on my special algorithms, because they do have special algorithms that determine what the value of, again, trying to get away from the realtors' market analysis, their special algorithms, of course, know everything.
It makes it competitive.
No, it doesn't make it competitive. We had
for them, yeah.
I know it. But one of the things I loved about what Mr. Rick Marino said the other day about them was, how's it competitive? There's only one offer.
Yeah.
Doesn't competition mean there's more than one?
Right.
Yeah, that's again they're dancing with the reality. Okay, so he says. The car iBuyer says, based on my special algorithms and car buying software, I will pay you a fair competitive price for your car, let's say $43,000 for that $50,000 vehicle. Now, for doing that, I'm going to charge you a fee for $4,900. Now, of course, I will have to inspect the car and will be deducting any costs that may incur getting your car to look and run like a brand new one, which can then be a total deduction of an original price of no more than an additional 14% of your car's actual value. Okay?
Yeah.
No double talk in there, but that's exactly how they're presenting this. Okay, but look how easy we will make the selling process. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what we keep coming back to is the easy button. If someone offered to buy your car under those circumstances, you would laugh them out the door. And yet this single iBuyer out of several iBuyers is doing this very thing every 24 minutes.
It's crazy.
You just described trading in your car versus selling it on your own.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you just described.
Well, and that's what they do compare it to sometimes.
Yeah.
But they don't. But these folks make it sound like they're doing everybody a favor.
Right.
Because you're not having to go through the terrible selling experience. They're just taking in the trade.
That might be a good analogy, though. You're trading in your house.
Well, and they talk about that. You're trading in your house. Mm-hmm. And you're taking a beating in the process. Mm-hmm. Okay, now consider this. So let's go back here for a second and say, so we pay the homeowner a fair competitive price for their home, and then we charge a fee to do that. So real quickly, you've heard me talk about the experience I had in Spring Hill a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. The home went on the market for $299,000. My clients were going through a divorce 2 days after I listed it, and about 10 opportunities to show the property, which they didn't want to do because they were going through a divorce, and I get that pain problem. So they reached out to this iBuyer, this particular one, and the iBuyer made him an offer of $286,000, okay? And he reached out to me and said, well, they're willing to pay $286,000. And I said, no, I don't think they're going to pay that, but I'm interested.
Play the game,
Let's play the game. Mm-hmm. So they came back with a carrying charge. We talked about what is that fee they're talking about here. It's a service fee is what they call it. I looked back at my notes again, and it's a service fee. Mm-hmm. It's a doc prep fee, okay?
Right. What are those?
A very large doc prep fee. Of another
$11,300.
Right.
And then, of course, they did that thorough inspection to make sure the place was safe. Of course, because we want to make sure that's safe. And that was another $11,000, including a new HVAC system, okay? Mm-hmm. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you hear some angst in my voice, here's part of it. That 2-page list of repairs equaling over $11,000 that they handed my client to get the price again lower yet.
Yes.
Most of those repairs were not even done. When they turned the house around, they put it back at $299. My clients got $265 for the house. They put it back at $305. They sold it immediately because that's really what the home was worth.
Sure.
Was that $305, which I originally told them that it was worth. So I'd like to continue on the numbers here, Carey Ann, because I think it's startling when you look at what kind of damage is not just happening to the consumer, but it's happening to the local economy as well. Some folks would call this strip mining the economy of equity that could have been circulating in our economy.
And clearly they're strategically marketing, because I don't think I've ever seen a marketing ploy come to me at all. I don't even know where they're marketing. So let's talk more about that. Let's take a short break. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
Monte Mohr here with Realty One Group Music City.
And Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Carey Ann, it's exciting things happening here in 2020. I'm so looking forward to this new year. We are right at the almost at 100 agents in our office, and I'm telling you, as a broker, I feel like a Papa Bear. When people come in, the feeling when somebody comes into, you attract these amazing people, and they're putting their trust and confidence in you, and you don't want to let them down. You want to create this great environment. You are creating this great environment, and great things are happening. It is the highlight of my real estate career, and I think that's maybe what part of the energy that feeds my wanting to guard our future.
Sure,
okay?
yeah.
I want to ensure that my agents have a future in this industry. I've had 36 wonderful years in the industry. I don't plan on checking out anytime soon. I want to make sure that this industry is around another 36 years. Mm-hmm. At this rate that I've been sharing, I'm not sure that it's going to certainly not look like it does right now. Mm-mm. And that's cool. You can't get in the way of the evolutionary process of life. But, we're just talking about what kind of numbers are being bought and sold in the iBuyer venue, and get these kind of numbers. Understand why part of my concern here. It says, what I said here is, consider this based on my own study, which includes actual closings and my discussions with other realtors, that the average loss runs between $10,000 and $30,000, Jim. Mm-hmm. I mean, we did the math on that one. It was $28,000, okay?
Okay.
That's a what kind of car?
Honda? It's about a Honda Accord.
Yeah, Honda Accord. Great car, okay? It lasts for 300,000 miles easy. Anyway, so let's do the math on this. If you consider that an average loss to the consumer, this is a loss beyond what they would have spent if they would have used a professional to sell their home, okay?
Pay the normal commission or the average commission.
This is after that. This is a loss beyond that,
wow.
Okay?
For easy.
This is the cost of the easy.
For what they think is easy.
Right.
Right.
So let's do the math. So $10,000 to $30,000 lost on 823 homes. That's $8 million to $24 million taken from the local homeowner and the local economy. Think about that, okay? These companies don't turn around and reinvest in the local barber or grocery store or that kind of stuff like a realtor would do, okay?
Right, yeah.
They send all that money back to Seattle or San Francisco. So I think it's really, really important. But get this part, because a lot of times folks don't think it's important if it's not affecting them directly. But the reason I want to talk about this next topic is because here's an eye-opener. As a local realtor, as an example, because I do have a challenge sometimes watching my peers not be concerned about this. What everybody needs to remember in this industry is that part of our job security has been, if you wanted to see a house, guess who you called?
A realtor.
You called a realtor to go see a house. Mm-hmm. Well, this particular company that we're talking about here is trying to do away with that. And they're actually training people to do something different.
Interesting.
What they do is they walk up to the house all by themselves without a realtor involved. They push in a code on their phone, and the door unlocks automatically. And they can walk in and view the home. I mean, after all, why bother a realtor? Why bother you? But you don't have to bother your realtor. We'll just come on in and look at it at your leisure. Okay?
What? I'm not letting you come in my house with a code?
Or remember, this is a vacant home because they bought the home. They told you to leave.
I see.
And now they've
there's nothing to take.
There's nothing to take.
I see.
Yeah.
But there's still some liability there. I mean, in my world, there's still liability. If I'm not there when, anyhow, that's another story because they dance at a different tune. They're not subject to the same rules and regulations we are, it seems. So the last time I showed one of their homes, during that time, there were 3 unrepresented families looking at that house.
Really?
So roaming around this home.
Wow.
Nobody involved, nobody to. So, but the part that bothered me the most probably was that there was a pile of propaganda saying, don't bother your realtor. You can buy and sell through us, and we'll actually even give you a 3-day late stay. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound tempting? A 3-day late stay, so you don't have to be rushed to move out of the house. Because, see, one thing I will say about these guys is they have learned to speak to the pain points. Mm-hmm. Speak to the pain points, the pain point of ease of process, the pain point of being in control. You choose the closing date.
It's a marketing department.
Oh, yeah?
No, it's but here's an important note for the homeowner also that's living up the street.
Okay.
From that open door or that iBuyer listing, that do you suppose the value of your home, when that homeowner decided to hit that easy button and take that discount, do you think that helped or hurt the value of your home? It didn't help it. It didn't help it because we all know the value is based on comparables.
Right.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So anyway, I want to speak to the homeowner. I want to speak to the home seller was tempted with that. I want to speak to the realtor that, look, guys, let's get the message out that this is not good for the economy. It's not good for the homeowner. It's not good for the real estate professional. It's not good for anybody other than the stockholders of that high-tech company that's getting those benefits, okay? Mm-hmm.
And I think education is key, right? The more that we can educate those folks, and it's like, how do we combat $1.4 billion worth of marketing, right? Or a great marketing department, right? Meaning they, like you said, they know exactly what to say to turn your head, to create enough curiosity for them to pick up the phone. And maybe they feel, sadly, and I have many in my industry, maybe there's been some people in their lives that have been too pushy, whether that's buying a car or buying, getting a mortgage or buying a house or something like that. So maybe in this way, they lessen that. They don't need to talk to anybody that's going to so-called, convince them. So maybe they think this is the easier.
Look, I take some ownership here, okay? And I think every realtor ought to take some ownership in this. Mm-hmm. I'm just being real right now. Mm-hmm. Right. If we had insisted, as an industry, insisted that every time somebody used a real estate professional, that they had as good an experience as possible, that real estate professional put their absolute best needs ahead of their own, I don't think we'd have near the threat that I'm concerned that we might. Mm-hmm. Okay, and again, I want to be positive, Carey Ann. I don't want to be negative.
Well, I mean, my industry's in the same boat, right?
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, all I can do is continue to do what I do and try to get enough eyes and ears, headed in my direction. But again, if I definitely see certain marketing that's combating my job, every day. And, this type of mortgage that's speedy and easy, and it's not the best deal always, right? No. And sometimes if you think about it, if we really take a moment, the people that they hire behind the computer or even the phone may not even be somebody who understands the ins and outs of exactly what we do every single day. Right. And they go and look for easy, right? Mm-hmm. They go and let the mortgage
easy and cheap
for them, not so much for the best thing for you as the client. What's ever easy for them to get you to the finish line and maybe make them, sadly, they're not supposed to, but maybe make them, the most money, right? Does every buyer within a certain credit score go left? They should maybe go right. That doesn't make the lender more money, right? And it causes the lender maybe even a little bit more grief to put them on the right program. But that's the right program, for that particular client. Right. So yes, I'm in that same boat, right? I mean, I'm like, really? This is a lot of hard work. I'm blind in one eye because of this industry. Not just every Joe can just or Sue can get up and do what I do every single day and be successful at it. And if they think they can, that just makes me feel like nobody cares about what I, like my particular job, just like yours. So I'm with you on the sense that how dare some marketing can turn ahead and make somebody go in one direction, and then another. So
and flat out lie to get that. I mean, that's so much of it's deception.
Okay? Yeah, the smoke and mirror piece, and that's the hardest. That's the hardest part. And again, we just lead with our hearts to make 2020 the best year we can make it.
Amen,
because we're fighting right now for our kids. There's definitely going to be a different world. Your grandkids, there's a different world approaching us. There is a lot of tech money out there in every industry that we're in, and it's going to be a lot faster as we approach the new year. So always great being here with you, Monte.
Great hanging out with you, Carey.
Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and listen. We love having all of our listeners out there. We'll see you next week. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.